Hello, my name is Christine Collins and I'm the Tax Collector Treasurer for the Town of Westford. I'm here to discuss local property taxes, the tax levy, and Proposition 2.5. To start, I'm going to define a couple of key terms. The tax levy is the revenue a community can raise through real and personal property taxes. The tax levy limit is the maximum amount a community can levy in a given year. Our levy limit is constrained because it is only allowed to increase by 2.5% each year. Proposition 2.5 is a Massachusetts law enacted in 1980 that places strict limits on the amount of property tax revenue a community can raise through real and property taxes. New growth is a term used to describe property tax increases caused by new construction, renovations, or land use changes. There's a common misconception that each individual household's property tax can only increase by 2.5% over the previous fiscal year's amount, and that just isn't true. Under Prop 2.5, the tax levy as a whole increases by 2.5% each year. The total levy limit is then divided among the full and fair cash value of all taxable real and personal property within Westford. The 2.5% increase does not apply to individual properties. The assessment for each individual property may change due to improvements to the property or market conditions. Higher home values across the whole town do not automatically mean an increase in your tax bill. Since Prop 2.5 caps the amount that can be raised, when values increase, the tax rate correspondingly decreases to keep us under the cap. Another condition that can impact tax bills has to do with the differences between residential and commercial values. If the sales data shows that single-family homes have increased in value by 10% over the previous fiscal year and commercial property has increased by only 5%, more of the levy will be assessed to residential homes, and the tax bill for a single-family home will increase more than 2.5%. So how is the tax levy calculated? Procedurally, the levy limit is increased each year by 2.5% over the previous year's levy limit. The Department of Revenue calculates this increase automatically. This figure does not include new growth. New growth is then added onto the tax levy and is not part of the Prop 2.5 calculation. The taxation from new growth and the 2.5% increase are part of what we consider new revenues for budgeting purposes. The new revenues help us keep pace with rising costs. This slide shows the actual numbers for Westford's FY24 levy. You see the previous year's total, the 2.5% added, new growth, and our previously voted debt exclusions are added to the amount we can raise in taxes. There are a couple of minor adjustments, and the resulting total is our FY24 levy. So when the annual levy limit increase is not sufficient to maintain or expand government services, the town has the option of approving a budget with cut services or approving a Proposition 2.5 override. An override is a permanent increase in the town's levy limit. To pass an override, the Select Board must first vote to place an override question on the town meeting warrant, and then it would have to be approved at town meeting and go to the ballot. It requires a majority vote for passage in both instances. So what's the difference between a Proposition 2.5 override and a debt exclusion? There are two main differences between an override question and a debt exclusion. The first is that the override is a permanent tax increase. Debt exclusions are temporary. When Westford authorized a debt exclusion in the past, such as with the Fletcher Fire Station on Boston Road, the levy limit is increased each year to pay for the associated debt service costs for the specific project until the loan is paid in full. The second difference is that an override only requires a majority vote at town meeting. A debt exclusion requires a 2/3 majority vote at town meeting. This is because Mass General Law requires a 2/3 majority vote to issue debt in all instances. Both an override and a debt exclusion require a majority vote at the ballot. So what's the impact of a $1 million override? We calculated the impact of a $1 million override on the median single-family home, which for Westford in FY24 is assessed at $756,500. For every $1 million authorized through the override process, the tax impact is expected to be $112.36. So I hope that's helpful to everybody. For more information regarding the tax levy or Prop 2.5, please feel free to contact the Westford Finance Department. Thank you for your time.